Today I'm talking about all three films in the Tron trilogy. And the names of those three movies are Tron, Tron Legacy, and Tron Ares. First up is Tron. This is a 1982 film that honestly I went into with a little bit lower expectations, and honestly I was blown away by it. I loved this movie. It's so great. If you're unfamiliar, the basic premise is Jeff Bridges is a disgruntled ex-employee of this computer software company. He invented some video games, a different employee stole them, got a big promotion, and so now he's trying to find the proof that the guy stole it from him. Whilst hacking into the system, the very intelligent AI that runs the company computer decided to fight back by activating a laser that Jeff Bridges was near, which teleports him into the computer, where he then has to compete in some games and do a whole revolution thing. And yeah, no, I love it. It's so good. It really hits the ground running, which was fun. The story is definitely very straightforward, but I think that was a good intentional choice because this is the first time in popular culture where they've done something like this. What if programs were alive and actively doing stuff? When it's kind of a more high concept thing, having the story just be more straightforward is a good balance. And it's a good solid story. One is finding proof that a coworker screwed you over. The other is about the programs wanting their freedom, and both things are achieved via the same thing. So like the goal of the film is very clear and easy to follow, and I think that was a great choice. I gotta say, this movie is so gorgeous. I was legitimately blown away by how beautiful it is. Yes, the graphics are simplistic, but that does not take away from the beauty of it. Like, it's just a top to bottom gorgeous film. I think what also just adds to the beauty is knowing how insanely hard making this film was. It was groundbreaking technology. All of the digital shots they would program and then not be able to see, which is just wild that like everything was just in their heads as code. Yeah, no, that's just so cool. And to get the suits to glow, that was a whole thing. The film is definitely worth a watch for sure, but then also looking into the behind the scenes of it is so fascinating. It's a good 1-2 punch that I would highly recommend. But yeah, no, this was a really good, solid film. I do think the third act wasn't as strong as the rest of the film, but I don't have any specific complaints about it. It was just kind of a vibe. I feel like on future viewings, I probably won't even notice it again. So yeah, no, I crazy love this movie and would wholeheartedly recommend it. Next up is Tron Legacy. This is a 2010 film that I knew I loved a lot, and also especially love the soundtrack. This soundtrack is so perfect. In college, this was my go-to. If I'm doing anything, this was on. Like if I'm doing homework, if I'm studying, if I'm just hanging out, this thing got played so freaking much. I love it to pieces. It is undoubtedly one of the best film scores of all time. It is just so good. The movie itself is also great. It doesn't reach the heights of the album, but like it's also a fantastic film. The basic premise is it's been decades. Jeff Bridges had a son. Unfortunately though, when the son was just a small child, Jeff Bridges vanished. So the son, Sam Flynn, played by Garrett Hudland, he's supposed to be the next CEO, but he's just a rambunctious kid who just can't settle down. One day he gets sucked into the grid and learns about what his dad has been up to all this time. And it's so good. I didn't really realize it was kind of a remake of the original. Like a lot of the same beats happen. The goals are different, but definitely like for sure the first act and probably a bit of the second act is a lot of the same story beats. But honestly, I didn't mind that because I feel like they added enough on top that it didn't feel like just a lazy, simple remake. The emotions are in a much different place because it's a son who believes his dad abandoned him. That's so deep, and it's very different from a coworker screwed me over. Jeff again just gives such a standout performance. He's definitely channeling the dude, but I kind of wonder if like the dude was sort of always a part of him. And I think it really works too because with this universe you get to such interesting philosophical questions of like, when do these programs become actual living things? When are they truly alive? survive? When do they break past just being a thing that you made and having that kind of the dude chill stoner vibes? It makes those very complex subjects easy to digest. I definitely loved Olivia Wilde. I remember loving her the first time I saw this, and that has not changed whatsoever. She's super adorable, but also fun and funny and such a badass. I do wish she got a few more badass moments, and honestly kind of like a little strange moment that happened later in the film was because of her, where she intentionally got herself caught, and like that moment did have a callback to early in the film, so like it's not out of nowhere, but I feel like that was just a slightly undercooked story beat, like maybe there were some cutscenes or something that kind of more so justified that moment. But that said, like the highs of this film are so good that even though there are some doughy parts to it, the highs kind of negate it. And obviously the score really truly makes the film. Like just having this score was gonna make this movie I really liked regardless, and everything underneath is also really good. Just a couple little faults every now and again. So yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this film and would wholeheartedly recommend it. You do not have to have seen the original to watch this. They completely explain everything. I do think it adds a nice layer to it, but if you're kind of put off by 80s CGI, which I understand, though you should really give it a shot, this definitely holds up without a doubt. Like, oh my god, the light cycle stuff is so incredible. Anytime one of the light vehicles breaks, there's like this light goo that flies out, and it's so cool and so gorgeous and such a brilliant idea. I love it to pieces. My god. Yeah, no, this movie is so incredibly pretty. So yeah, no, I crazy love this movie and would wholeheartedly recommend it. And lastly is Tron Ares. This is a 2025 film, and the basic premise is complicated. God, yeah, this is a strange little movie. None of the characters who have been important for the last two films have really anything to do with this movie. Jared Leto plays Ares, who is this program who is basically becoming sentient, and so his whole journey is about being able to be free, specifically because the CEOs have developed technology wherein they can 3D print anything from the grid into real life, except it only has a 29-minute window of being able to exist. So they're on the search for the permanence code. The thing is, the movie starts off with that being an issue, that 29 minutes of having any of this crazy technology is a bad thing because it's only 29 minutes. No, there's so many uses for that. They can 3D print anything in like 30 seconds. It's so incredibly fast, and then they have basically half an hour to do whatever with it. So like obvious military stuff would be like drones that would then disintegrate and no one could take apart and examine. Prostitution would be great because you can 3D print people. I'll spoil it, the movie does end with them getting the permanence code. But now you've kind of solved every issue in the world. If you have one of these machines, you can create anything from code. You can just print money. You can just print food. You can just print housing, and all it costs is energy. They don't talk about the energy issue, so now it's like it just becomes a logistics issue, which also really isn't an issue because now you can just 3D print a factory of 3D printers and 3D print the trucks you need them to go out. You don't even have to have the trucks come back. You can just 3D print more and more trucks, and that's fine. So like, this movie has an insane ending. I don't know, it's so strange. Jared Leto is obviously a very problematic person. He was fine in this. He perfectly served the robot trying to learn how to be a person. That was interesting enough. The plot in and of itself is pretty silly. The villain is cartoonishly evil. Tron's also not in this movie. They had a perfect opportunity to have him in here because at one point Ares breaks into the other server where Tron would be, and he should be guarding that server, but he's not. Also, they broke into that server to get Greta Lee's profile. What does that mean? Like, her work profile would just be like tax stuff, but this has like all of her social media stuff. Like, you don't need to break into the server to get her social media stuff. You just scan social media stuff. I guess technically it got a personal text, but that'd be just breaking into her phone, which is different than her work computer. I don't know. It's a strange movie. It's hard to put into words exactly what they messed up with it. It's odd. I didn't care for the music either, which was disappointing because like the other two soundtracks were incredible. Like Tron Legacy is a perfect soundtrack. The original Tron is such a good score, made by one of my favorite composers. And then this one is Nine Inch Nails. It felt just kind of like a cheap imitation of the Tron Legacy soundtrack. So that was just so disappointing repeatedly. Also, I was expecting this one to be like the prettiest looking one, but it's not. It's without a doubt Tron Legacy, closely behind original Tron, and then this one in kind of a distant third. They got rid of the goo, the light goo. Why would you get rid of the light goo? That was so cool. Also, it felt so silly that the Ares server, instead of light discs, they had light triangles. Like, okay, all right, whatever. So yeah, no, I didn't dislike this movie, but I didn't like it either. It's a solid meh. Would I recommend it? No, it's definitely not worth it. Just do the first two. If you only have time for one, just do the second one. But the first one's also definitely worth checking out. You can watch them in either order, that's fine. But yeah, no, this is a safe one to miss. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Tron, sitting number 5 in the really like section. And then after that, chronologically, is Tron Legacy, sitting number 4, also in the really like section. And then bringing up the rear, rightfully so, is Tron Ares, sitting at number 13 in the meh section. And this is out of a total of 15 old movies so far this year.